Everyone, welcome back to the Points Manifest. I'm Eunice.
And I'm your co-host, Sarthak.
Hey, Sarthak. Happy Saturday. How's it going? How was your week?
It's good. I had a lot of work at office and we did a bunch of stuff with AI. So I feel like that's going to be a part and parcel of our daily lives, whether that be at work or personal life. What about you? How was your week?
Yeah, I use AI tools a ton at work and in my personal life when I'm planning travel. My week was good. It was really busy. Been hitting the Capital One Cafe a lot because it's in walking distance, and there's actually a promo going on during MLB season every Monday through I think like September 22nd. You can get a free handcrafted beverage. You can get like a latte, like their seasonal drinks. You just have to download their coupon and save it to your digital wallet.
Well, I'm really jealous because I don't have one in walking distance, but I do have one in San Francisco. I've been there a couple of times and I really like working from there.
I haven't worked from there yet, but I think I might try it one day.
Cool. All right, let's segue into our next segment, which is news of the week. Was there any worthwhile news sharing?
It's not news that came out this week, but it's something that's been on my mind. It's the ending of Amex and Hawaiian being transfer partners. So this is ending at the end of June. It's great that we have some heads up on this and why this matters. This is the only way to transfer a transferable currency into Alaska today. So you have to transfer from Amex to Hawaiian and then over to Alaska. And this is ending on June 30th. After that date, Alaska's only other transfer partner is Built, which is way less popular and their points are way less easy to earn than Amex, in my opinion. I've just been thinking about whether I want to transfer, how much I want to transfer. So that's been on my mind. What about you?
Tell me, why is Alaska so good?
Alaska has some great sweet spots. When I'm thinking about what I might use those miles for, it would probably be hopping over to Europe. East coast over to Europe is only 55K Alaska miles. There's that Starlux redemption from the West Coast over to Taipei for 75K. They have a really great reputation, so I would like to fly that. I'm thinking about maybe transferring like 150,000 miles over to Hawaiian before the store closes. And keep in mind for the domestic airlines, Amex does charge a fee for transferring those points over. I'm expecting to pay, I think about like $99. It does cap at $99. So there is a small fee to pay. I don't think that should play into your decision on whether or not to transfer though.
That's good to hear. Yeah, Alaska is one of my favorite programs to transfer into because of all these sweet redemptions. And not only international, but domestically, you can book last minute or even you can book American flights for much less with Alaska points.
Yeah, I love booking those American flights for like 7,500 miles. That can be a real money saver.
Talking about Capital One cafes, Capital One Lounge have a new change in their planning with the Venture X and the Venture X business cards. Earlier, you would be able to go into a lounge, bring in two guests with you, and any authorized user on the card can also bring in two guests with you. And this is valid for not only Capital One lounges, but also for the Priority Pass lounge, where I think you would be able to bring in one guest, if not two. But suffice to say that if you have a party of four or even maybe six, you should be able to go in with just one card, and that card actually pays for itself. We've talked about this before. Well, February 1, 2026, it is all going to change, and you would have to pay $125 authorized user lounge fee. Technically, it's not an authorized user card fee, but you will have to pay the $125 lounge fee to be able to get the authorized user into the lounge. And you also no longer have the ability to bring in guests. Not only do you not get to bring a guest along, but you also have to pay for the authorized user.
That's a pretty big change for that card. And that immediately makes me think that the Ritz-Carlton card from Chase is a perfect replacement for that. It's a longer pathway to get there because you can't just outright open it. But we are now currently in the period where that elevated offer for the, it's called the Bonvoy Boundless card from Chase gets you those 550K certificates. And in a year from when you open that card, you can then product chain that to a Ritz card. And the Ritz card allows all of your authorized users to access Sapphire lounges, Priority Pass, I don't think there's a limit on guests, which is really interesting. And there's no limit on the number of Sapphire Lounge visits either. And I have found that it actually allows me to kind of skip the line at the Sapphire Lounge. I think they like give me priority over priority pass membership holders. It's an interesting pathway to think about.
Pretty cool. All right, let's get into what we booked or wanted to book or aspired to book. Was there something in that area for you in the last week?
I've been booking a bunch of domestic cash fares. I don't enjoy them because a lot of my options, like the best time of day that I want to fly, it ends up being a Spirit fare. And they're usually non-refundable, non-changeable. So it kind of hurts that I can't have something flexible there. I can't book it with points. I've been booking a bunch of domestic things for either positioning or for meetups or events that I plan to attend later this year.
Actually, we had some plans to go to Vegas from the Bay Area, and Spirit flies quite frequently because Vegas is their hub. And I was able to change. So maybe that might have changed since you last looked at the rules and program.
Oh. Maybe I just default to the lowest fare, and that's my problem.
Yeah, that might be it. If you have the basic economy, then yeah, that might
Yeah,
not be changeable or cancelable. All
yeah.
right. I booked something exciting last week. Finally, the free night certificate for the Aspire card with Hilton came in,
Mhm.
and I was excited to book 4 nights at the Grand Wailea in Maui, where we are returning. And we not only that, but we were also able to book live flat seats to Hawaii using the Alaska program that we talked about earlier. It
Mhm.
was 40K points from the West Coast to Honolulu, and then from there to any of the other islands for no additional fee or cost. Hawaiian flies A330 and 787 from the West Coast to Honolulu, which have the lie flat seats. And typically they're pretty limited in routing. So right now, I think it's only from the SF to Honolulu and from LA. You might want to see that before you jump on these deals. It's harder to
Mhm.
get those lie flat seats for 2 or more seats, but you'll definitely see a lot more domestic first availability if you have a party of 4, perhaps going to Hawaii. It's
Nice.
easy.
That's exciting. Is that for a special occasion?
As it turns out, November happens to be both our birthdays, P2 and I.
Oh,
So we're going to be
me too.
celebrating.
My birthday's also in November.
Oh, cool. Maybe we should all go to Hawaii. Also, thanks to you, I was able to get a sweet upgrade award from you as a gift. And I was able to apply that for an upcoming booking for 6 nights and was able to secure a free suite upgrade, which is really nice because as you stay more and more at Hyatt places in the year, you get you end up having these milestone rewards that give you a bunch of sweet upgrade certificates. I'm gonna give you one right back once I finish my stay.
Yeah, that's perfect. And especially since you have a longer stay to apply that to, that's the best way to use them. All right. So next, is there anything that went wrong that you had to fix this week?
Yeah, I already talked about I have the Aspire card and I've had that for 2 years now, or maybe a little over 2 years since I started the points and miles journey. And we've had two in our household from the beginning. So we get 2 free night certificates, we get a bunch of Hilton credits in resort properties, and I underline the resort because there's this short list of Hilton properties that you can go and get some credits biannually. That's every 6 months. You get $200 per card. So in total, for 2 cards for the year, we get about $800, which is quite a bit. And I don't want to lose out on those. So typically, what happens is when we also get the free night certificate from the card, right? Typically, it would happen to be a resort property, and we would be able to use that $200 credit towards our stay, either at food or for something else like the spa or something. And this time around, we didn't have any plans in the first half of the year to go anywhere. There's this one resort property which is driving distance from my home city in Fremont, California, which happens to be in Tahoe. And Tahoe happens to be a really good place to check out. So we go there once a year, anyways. And this was our second time returning to this resort property. I had one weekend booked, and It roughly costed around $460. I would have gone over by $60. I would have still got $400 credit towards that stay. Would have been really nice, except towards the end, where just as about the stay was coming up, I was looking up rates. If there were any change in rates, I could, sometimes rebook for lesser. And I did rebook for lesser, but without realizing that these are prepaid stays, which means
Mm.
that higher direct sales is going to charge my card and not the resort property itself, which then does not trigger the credit. That was a learning, even though I've had this card for 2 years, I've been in this game, but things happen and now I need to go somewhere and spend that $400. Maybe we'll go to Tahoe again, but I think I have something in my mind and I'm gonna try that out if it works, and we can share about that in the next one.
Looking forward to hearing about that. I think those Amex credits are a lot to keep track of, especially when they're like tied to a quarter or a half a year. Like those dates come up so quickly.
Yeah.
So for me, I actually ended up rebooking my flights to Hong Kong. If you remember, I was positioning to Newark and then I was going to fly to Delhi and then Hong Kong. Just like both of those things between the Newark airport and what's going on there now, and also what's happening at the Delhi airport and the Pakistani airspace. I just like couldn't deal with all of that all in one single trip. So I ended up canceling that. Air Canada actually waived the cancellation fee because it's supposed to be $150 because technically there was a flight schedule change. Usually, if you're booking things out pretty far in advance, there's a good chance there will be at least one schedule change. They had already emailed me that there were two different schedule changes. And because it was more than 3 hours and it was an inconvenience to me, which it was, I would have had to fly into New York the night before and get a hotel, that they would waive the fee. Although technically after the last schedule change, it was only 2 hours difference from the original. So I don't know how they're counting their 3 hours there. But I rebooked myself using American Airlines miles to fly Japan Airlines. So I'm flying from Chicago to Tokyo and then on to Hong Kong for 70,000 miles in business class. And a good thing I did book refundable fares for my positioning to Newark. So I was able to cancel those, but now I do have to fly Spirit to Chicago that morning.
Love it. Spirit to JAL business. So that's going to be an interesting change of events. All right, we're going to go into the next segment, which is deals slash shopping portal options. I ended up buying LifeMiles this previous week, and I found something very interesting. Buying LifeMiles has been showing up on Rakuten for 2x for some time now. I think it's been four-ish months, and you get 2x points for that. But this time around, I was able to see that there's something called multiply your miles with life miles. And I've had my eye on it, but I haven't really used it as much. What I was able to do was buy those miles for even cheaper than their usual sale price by multiplying them. That could be an opportunity for people to buy miles for less and travel for much cheaper.
Is that something on the Life Mile side or on Rakuten side?
This is so the multiply your miles is on LifeMiles site, and you can do that based on what's your track record in the past 12 months. You can multiply them. This works something similar to Avios Boost Your Avios with British Airways. If you have accrued some miles in the past month for British Airways, you can boost them up to 3x or 4x, I believe, and then you're able to buy those points for 1.2 cents each, which I think is a great price. For example, if you were to go to Asia with Qatar business class, it will typically cost about 85K from here to India, my home country, and that roughly translates to about 1300, or actually with taxes and fees it'll come about to 1400 one way in business. That's round trip 2800 for flights that usually cost 7 or maybe 8K typically. So
So like
something like that also exists for life miles, and I just never had the better pricing up until now.
I look at your recent balances of how much, like, because you buy miles a lot. So do they take those miles into account when evaluating the discount to give to you?
That's a good question. I did not look into that, but I'm guessing like somewhere down the line I might have transferred some from Amex or something because this was
Mhm.
coming up. LifeMiles and British Airways gives you the opportunity to do that for up to 12 months in the past. And I was able to see something from August 2024 where I had some 70K points that was eligible to multiply, and that's what I did. I
Mhm.
do have their LifeMiles card. So if
Yeah.
you're looking for even better pricing, they give you 15% discount if you pay with their LifeMiles card.
Yeah, you're all in with LifeMiles. You're gonna have to tell me when there's a good deal because I have like 90,000 miles sitting in there.
Sounds good. What about you? Any deals that you came across?
So I'm like jumping back into meal kits. I have one the day I get back from my trip, so that'll be nice that I don't have to worry about food that day. I did notice on the AA portal that Green Chef is offering 4,100 miles. And instead of a certain percentage back, they have a minimum spend, maybe like somewhere in like the $50 range. And then you just keep the account open for usually it's 45 or 60 days. And that first box is extremely discounted. What you want to do is you can either optimize the first box to the lowest price to meet portal minimum, or you might want to stack with one of your credit card offers. Like right now, I'm seeing a ton of offers on my Amex and Chase cards. Both of them are $10 off. It's not something very exciting, but if it's like $10 off of 50, obviously you would want to hit a $50 charge for that box. What you can do is just get that first box, keep pausing the rest of the boxes, the rest of the weeks until you hit that 45 or 60-day mark and then cancel the subscription. And that's an easy way to earn 4,100 AA miles that count towards your elite status. And you've only spent like maybe $50 and got some food out of it. So that's one of my favorite ways to earn through the shopping portals. Have you done one of those before?
I have, yeah. When I wanted to do the Southwest Companion Pass,
Mhm.
I ordered a bunch of meal kit preps from their portal. But I also
Yeah.
did something recently with Nurture Life, and I think I got
Mhm.
about 5K American miles of it for $20. I think that's worth it. And I get some food out of it.
Oh, I haven't heard of that one. Is it a meal kit?
Yeah, it's more for snacks for kids or
Mm.
teenagers. Well, I don't mind
What's the
having
difference between snacks for them and snacks for us?
I think they cater it for being it more healthy, and the juice boxes have hidden kale and spinach in them, which appeals to the kids.
I have to check that one out. You said AA portal?
Yes.
All right. So I think we've gotten to our segment about questions from friends, viewers. This one came in. How would
Right.
you go about this?
Right. So this came in from a friend, and they were looking to book something very last minute, which was less than a week away. Typically, this route from Dallas to DC costs about 150-ish dollars. And they were seeing about 350, and the preferred timing was even more than that, roughly $400. So when she pinged me, I quickly like, we can definitely do better than 400. And then we hopped on to the Pro because we just talked about how you can transfer Amex to Alaska and it is good. So you might want to think transferring them before that closes. So we were able to find about 7,500 point price from Dallas to DC for the timing that she preferred. And I love talking about buying miles. Even if you bought those miles, you'll end up with the $150 price instead of exorbitant $400 price. So there you go.
Awesome. That's a great redemption. And that's lucky that she had the miles, right?
Oh yes, she had the American Express miles, so we just ended up converting them. Or I don't actually remember now. Maybe she bought them. I might have
Oh,
influenced her to bought some more.
nice. Well, that wraps up this week's episode. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah, please leave us comments, questions, or if you are seeing any upcoming travels or have had any recent travel stories, please let us know in comments.
All right. Catch you next time with more deals, stories, and strategies. Safe travels.
All right.
What do we do?